How did they compromise French President Emmanuel Macron's phone? How did they extract the data from Jeff Bezos' phone? What was behind the spying campaign against journalists in Mexico? And is it connected to the Jamal Khashoggi case? Before I say a single word, I need you to do something. Put your thumb over your phone's front camera. Right now. Do it. Because by the end of this video, you will never want to take it off. Look at your phone. Right now. It knows your fingerprints. It maps your face. It knows where you slept last night, who you texted an hour ago, and what your heart rate is when you lie. We tell ourselves we are safe because we follow the rules. Don't click strange links. Don't download weird apps. Use a strong password. But what if I told you none of that matters anymore? In 2018, the richest man on Earth, Jeff Bezos, received a video file on WhatsApp from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He didn't click a suspicious link. He didn't type in a password. He just received a message. Within hours, massive amounts of data were silently exfiltrated from his device. Photos, private messages, corporate secrets. The CEO of Amazon, a man with infinite security resources, was compromised, and he had absolutely no idea. This wasn't a teenage hacker in a basement. This wasn't the CIA. This was a product. A commercial software that you can buy if you have millions of dollars and the right government connections. We are talking about the most sophisticated, devastating, and invisible digital weapon ever created. It's called Pegasus. And the company behind it doesn't exist in Silicon Valley. It operates from a heavily guarded office in Herzliya, Israel. They are called the NSO Group. They have turned the device in your pocket into the ultimate traitor. And the scariest part? You will never even know they were there. Chapter 1.
The technical terror. Zero click.
To understand why tech giants like Apple and Google are absolutely terrified of the NSO Group, you have to understand a concept called the zero-click exploit. Historically, hacking was a game of psychology. I send you an email saying you won the lottery. You click the link. You let me in. The defense was simple. Just don't click the link. NSO Group realized that human error wasn't reliable enough for military-grade espionage. So, they eliminated the human entirely. Here is the terrifying technical reality of Pegasus. An operator sitting thousands of miles away types your phone number into a terminal. They send a hidden data packet to your phone, maybe a missed WhatsApp call that rings for a millisecond, or a silent iMessage that you never even see. That's it. You are infected. The moment that invisible packet hits your phone, Pegasus bypasses the operating system. It roots the device. It takes complete administrative control. Suddenly, the operator has access to everything. They can read your encrypted signal and WhatsApp messages before they are even encrypted. They can track your GPS in real time. They can silently turn on your microphone while your phone sits on the table during a confidential meeting. They can turn on your camera. Your phone is no longer yours. It is a highly advanced, battery-powered surveillance drone that you willingly carry into your bedroom. They bypassed the unbypassable. But building a weapon this powerful requires a specific kind of genius. A military kind. Chapter 2.
The Unit 8200 Mafia.
Who builds something like this? In the United States, elite coders go to Stanford or MIT, and then they go work for Google to optimize ad clicks. In Israel, the elite coders go to the military. Specifically, an ultra-secretive intelligence division known as Unit 8200. It is the Israeli equivalent of the NSA. The founders of NSO Group, Niv Karmi, Shalev Julio, and Omri Lavai, hence the acronym NSO, are products of this ecosystem. When they left the military, they brought military-grade cyber warfare tactics into the private sector. This is the managerial brilliance of NSO Group. They didn't build a consumer app. They built a private intelligence agency for hire. Their corporate defense is always the same. We only sell to vetted sovereign governments. We build tools to stop terrorists, catch pedophiles, and bust drug cartels. We just make the gun. We don't pull the trigger. And for a while, that narrative worked. They operated in the shadows, creating a pristine corporate structure. They hired top-tier lawyers, compliance officers, and PR firms. They dressed up a digital arms dealership to look like a slick, modern SaaS, software as a service, startup. But a weapon this powerful cannot be contained. And when you sell a weapon to governments, governments are going to use it to protect their own interests. Whatever it takes. Chapter 3.
The billion-dollar invisible industry.
How do you monetize an invisible weapon? You create the most exclusive subscription model in the history of capitalism. NSO doesn't charge a flat fee. They charge for the installation vector and the number of targets. Leaked documents suggest that back in 2016, to hack just 10 iPhones, a government had to pay a $500,000 installation fee, plus $650,000 for the hacks themselves. Add in an annual 17% maintenance fee. Today, those prices have skyrocketed. We are talking tens of millions of dollars for a single contract. This massive influx of cash attracted the sharks of Wall Street. Private equity firms saw the profit margins. In 2019, a European private equity fund called Novalpina Capital bought a majority stake in NSO. valuing the company at over $1 billion. Think about the financial absurdity of that. A unicorn billion-dollar tech company whose sole product is a piece of code that Apple and Google spend billions trying to destroy. Investors were pouring money into cyber espionage because the demand was infinite. Why spend billions building your own intelligence agency, training spies, and risking international incidents when you can just cut a $50 million check to a company in Israel and instantly have the capability to hack the president of a rival nation? It was the democratization of cyber warfare, and that is exactly what broke the world. Chapter 4:
Diplomacy by Spyware.
If you think NSO Group was just a rogue company operating on its own, you are missing the biggest secret of all. This is where the story shifts from a tech thriller to a geopolitical earthquake. NSO Group is heavily regulated by the Israeli Ministry of Defense. They cannot sell Pegasus to another country without explicit government approval. Pegasus wasn't just a product. It was a tool of statecraft. Investigations revealed that Pegasus licenses were allegedly used as diplomatic sweeteners. Countries that historically had tense relations with Israel suddenly found themselves with access to the world's most powerful spyware. In return, diplomatic ties were normalized. It was a shadowy currency used to redraw the map of the Middle East and forge new global alliances. But you cannot control what a foreign dictator does with a god-tier hacking tool. Soon, the terrorist hunting excuse fell apart. A massive investigation by a consortium of global journalists, the Pegasus Project, leaked a list of 50,000 phone numbers potentially targeted by NSO's clients. The list didn't just contain terrorists, it contained the numbers of human rights activists, journalists in Mexico who were investigating cartels, associates of the murdered Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Even heads of state, including the President of France, Emmanuel Macron. The weapon had been turned on the watchdogs. The invisible bullet was being used to silence truth. Chapter 5:
The Titans go to war. The Clash.
This triggered a war unlike anything the tech world has ever seen. Apple, the company that prides itself on privacy, the company that fought the FBB over unlocking an iPhone, was publicly humiliated. A tiny company in Israel was making a mockery of Apple's trillion-dollar security infrastructure. So Apple did something unprecedented. They sued the NSO Group in federal court. Meta, the owners of WhatsApp, also sued them. The United States government officially blacklisted NSO Group, placing them on an entity list, making it essentially illegal for American companies to do business with them. It was a full-scale corporate and governmental assault to wipe NSO off the map. The algorithm changed. The zero-day exploits were patched. Apple introduced lockdown mode specifically to fight state-sponsored mercenaries. For a moment, it looked like the good guys won. NSO Group faced massive debt. Their CEO stepped down. The company hovered on the brink of collapse. But if you think the story ends there, you are vastly underestimating the dark side of technology.
The conclusion. The Pandora's box.
The NSO Group might be wounded. They might even go bankrupt. But the terrifying reality is, it doesn't matter anymore. NSO proved that it is possible. They proved that no device is secure. They proved that with enough money, you can bypass any encryption on Earth without the user ever touching their screen. They opened Pandora's box. Today, there is an entire shadow industry of commercial spyware companies popping up in Greece, North Macedonia, and Singapore. Companies with names you've never heard of, building tools just as powerful, quietly selling them to the highest bidder. The digital arms race has left the military bases and entered the free market. So, as you watch the end of this video, take a look at the camera lens on your phone. Look at the microphone hole at the bottom. You think you're just watching YouTube. But the question you have to ask yourself in the modern age isn't what you are watching on your screen. The question is, who is watching you through it? Who is watching you through it?